I woke up in the middle of the night. I needed to pee, so I turned on the lights and headed to the bathroom. I went out and got in bed again. I was dozing off when I felt it, rummaging through the boxes I hadn't unpacked yet. It was so vivid that I had to see what it was. The sun was starting to rise, so the room was dimly lit. You know, with that characteristic blue color of mornings. I slowly opened my right eye and peeked out from under the covers to the corner where I'd put the boxes. And there it was, wrinkles all over its face, a bit translucent, and a furious look as if it knew that I was playing dumb and pretending to be asleep. Out of fear, I let out a scream and called my mom, but I'm quite old for that. I'm 42 and moved into this place alone. Oftentimes, when we talk about paranormal encounters, we immediately think of ghosts or demons, and that's just enough to send shivers down our spines. But how about gnomes, also known as duendes, or maybe fairies? They tend to be elusive beings that shy away from our presence. But today, I'm going to share with you a story that proves otherwise. A story with two different perspectives from two people who had the same experience and decided to share it with us. Let's begin.
Chilean Spooky Tales.
The Fairy. This story happened to me in La Serena City. This is in the north of Chile. It's a place called El Temblador. It's an area that's like a cliff right in front of the sea. There are some hills, so we took our tents with us and stayed there for like 5 days. We didn't have internet access or anything, and there was no technology. We just had flashlights and food. That day, we went down the hill to the beach. We wanted to talk and smoke some cigarettes. It was me and 2 other cousins, but for some reason, one of them didn't go and stayed up on the hill. I went down with my cousin and my 4-year-old daughter. We were talking and looking at the sea when suddenly something came flying towards us very fast. That thing was making a strange noise. It was like the sound of hummingbirds, and it moved from left to right. Not like a butterfly, and its wing movement wasn't like a butterfly's either. So it flew to where we were, stood right in front of my cousin. Then it turned around and stood right in front of me, as if it wanted to be seen. I felt like it did it on purpose, as if it had consciousness of its own. It came right to us and then it flew away. When you see a mosquito or a spider, you tend to have a natural reaction, but we didn't have that. We just looked at each other and my cousin told me, "It's a fairy." And I told her back, "It's a fairy." I remember some girls were walking by and also saw this creature, but they screamed. I didn't ask them about it because my cousin and I were in shock. Then, when we reacted, we started to describe it. It was completely black. Its legs were super well defined. Each leg was like 5 centimeters long, very thin, like a match. And that caught my attention, and I wondered how something so small could have such a defined shape. Its feet and hands were curved, like when rabbits stand on 2 feet and their front paws are folded. Its head was round and also well defined, and its wings were fluorescent orange, like those safety vests people wear to park cars. When we got back, I grabbed a piece of paper and told my cousin, "I want you to draw what you saw. Then fold the paper and I'll draw what I saw on the other side of it. And then we'll compare." And when we opened it, it was exactly the same figure. We had already talked about it briefly, but not so detailed. It was 2 different people who saw a fairy, 2 individuals who saw the same being and described it the same way. And that paper was proof that what we'd seen wasn't something we'd imagined. Like I mentioned before, this story has 2 versions, so I took the time to ask the second person about it, and she basically told me the same. She also added this. It was black and the wings were orange, like a monarch butterfly. We looked at each other for a few seconds and we were like, "Dude, it's a fairy." We didn't doubt it or thought it was a butterfly or a moth. It flew away and we lost sight of it. I want to make clear that it wasn't a human body, but it was like an insect but with the anatomy of a human being, because it had hands and legs and it was flying. It was in a standing position, but it was obviously smaller. We drew it to see what each one of us thought about it, and it looked like the picture I sent you. I've collected big butterflies, night butterflies, and as soon as I saw this, I realized that it wasn't a butterfly at all. And finally, I'm gonna add some fragments of their accounts in Spanish, just in case you're curious about them.
Y no sabíamos qué decir porque luego ya cuando reaccionamos un poco empezamos a decir, era negra. Las piernas, lo que más me llamó la atención eran las piernas, porque las piernas estaban muy bien definidas. ¿Cuántos centímetros? Como de 5 centímetros las piernas más o menos. Delgadísimas, eran tan flaquitas como un palito de fósforo o más gruesas que un palito de fósforo.
Pensamos que era una mariposa, pero realmente no lo era porque se veía su cuerpo. Pero creo que se entienda que no era literalmente como un cuerpo humano, ¿cachai? Sino que era como el cuerpo de un bicho, pero tenía la anatomía de un ser humano, porque tenía las manos, tenía las manitos, las patitas, era un cuerpo pequeñito, era todo de negro, y tenía las alitas y pasó por el frente mío, después por el frente de la Nico y después se fue.